Welcome everybody to Community Restorative COVID-19 edition. And today we are focusing on developing awareness of what I said in my email is the root of our embodiment on Earth. And that seems like a very big claim. Um, but we're exploring these inner hip muscles that are very much connected to our sense of safety and agency in the world, as well as biomechanically, they are very deep core muscles that help us to ambulate, help us to be structurally sound. And then it's also very much connected to our breath. So I invite you as we explore. For some of you, you might be brand new to exploring the pelvic floor. So holding a space of curiosity, openness, and recognizing that whatever you sense and feel, even if it's, I'm not sure, it's actually very valuable information for your self-discovery and growth. So we're starting out on our backs with the knees bent, feet on the ground. And for some of you, if just this resting position with the knees bent doesn't feel restful, you might try leaning the knees in and widening the feet and see if that quiets any gripping in the legs. Then once you're there, just begin to shift your attention into your body. Focus it right at the sacrum, which is that broad, flat bone behind your hips. And notice your natural sensation and breath there. As you take the inhale, can you sense any flowing of your breath downwardly into your body? And then when you take the exhale, I invite you to just sigh it out for the first few rounds. Now that mouth exhalation is a really valuable tool, an easy and accessible one as well, to soften our diaphragm, to help make the breath more visible. And after your 3 breaths, just rooting your awareness into the sacrum, into one point in the body, start to scan through your body part by part, just registering and recognizing what's present here on this first layer. So you can scan from the feet up, the head down. Sometimes I do play, and when I start with the sacrum, I try to scan expanding from the center of the sacrum up and down. You can play with how you want to do the body scan. Now, what is the overall quality to the whole body, not just the parts? And watching again your native breath, noticing the location of your native breath, the depth of it. as well as perhaps the frequency. And in the same way, observe the dimension of your thoughts, your mental body, and what is your emotional field like right now. And wherever you're at, give yourself space. So keep shifting into that wider perspective where you can hold and allow your mind to be as it is, your emotions to be as they are. Start to introduce element of the pelvic floor, which is the bony elements. So we felt the sacrum, and then attached to the side of the sacrum are your two hip bones. And they wrap around the sides and they meet at the front at your pubic bone. And you can, as I mentioned, all these places, you can touch your hands on the pubic bone. So this is kind of like a bowl that contains and supports all the organs here in the lower body. And bones have a quality of stability, and what they would say in the Ayurvedic system have this quality of earth. So as you stay here, can you feel the boundaries of your hips, getting a sense of that solidity and support? Getting that sense of the quality of the earth element here in these bones. And then the pelvic floor muscles, we can think of them as a diamond that is attached to 4 bony protrusions here. And on the front, it's the pubic bone. On the back, it's the tailbone. And then on the sides is our 2 sit bones. And again, you can place hands there just to get a sense of those boundaries, a sense of solidity. And then in this, so it's also like a T. In the center is what's called the perineal body, which is this. You could say it's like the central point where all the muscle fibers are connected. And I remember somebody once said that embryologically, these tissues here are the first cells within our bodies as we developed. So it's embryologically, developmentally, the seat of our embodiment right here at the perineal body. So as you stay and get a sense of this diamond, we're going to invoke the breath first. So there's a natural relationship between your inhalation and your exhalation and your pelvic floor. On your inhalation, your respiratory diaphragm draws downwardly, and then there is a mirroring movement in the pelvic floor. And then on the exhalation, the respiratory diaphragm pulls upward towards the heart. And if the relationship is relaxed and functional, there is an inward drawing of the pelvic floor. So as you stay here, On your inhale, can you imagine the breath flowing downward into your pelvic diamond? And then on your exhale, just watching and seeing what you can feel. It's totally normal to be like, I'm not sure what I feel right now. And throughout the practice, we'll layer in different positions so that we can develop this proprioception. Release all effort with that inquiry. And we are going to introduce massaging, not here, because these muscles are internal and pretty deep, but we're going to massage some of the external hip muscles that can, tension here can affect. So grab your tune-up balls, or role model method balls as they're called now. And if you don't have a set of these, if you can grab, kids' balls, toys that you have around the house. So balls of approximately tennis ball size. And the first place that we're going to massage out, we're basically going to go from the middle bum down to the under bum. And so the first set of two muscles that we want to talk to is the piriformis, which is, most of us know of these muscles as the ones that turn the leg out. But because of its positioning deep inside your outer hip, it can also be considered internal, the back wall of your pelvic floor muscles. And to approximate the location, you can find your sacrum. And the piriformis is attached to the side of your sacrum, roughly like in the middle, not super high up, but a little bit in the middle, and it's in line with this bone that juts out to the side of your hip. And so you can put the two balls, one on either side of your sacrum. And you're lying down still, and you just sense and feel the pressure here. If you're brand new to the self-massage, you can err on side of caution, so less pressure, a little bit more gentle. And as you come into this place, see if you can sense your natural breath. So when there's contact with the body and some object, it can help us to become aware more easily. So see if you can feel your natural breath moving into your bum here. And then on the exhale, can you get a sense of this area maybe softening a little bit? And then listen to your body. What kind of movement would you like to introduce? What feels more accessible, more gentle? For me, usually when I do this, I like to kind of lift my hips up and push into my feet and roll. That feels more gentle to me than the windshield wiper movement, but you can do either one as your initiation to movement. So either leaning the legs side to side or rolling. And then you can combine both. So you can roll your hips to the left and then drop the knees to the right, and vice versa. And let it be organic. So you have a lot of permission to explore and improvise as you do the self-massage, self-inquiry. And so for some of you who, want more pressure, you might take one leg into a figure four. And let's say if it's your left leg, to focus all the pressure on the left, you could take the right ball out. And then if you're doing something on one side only, go ahead and switch to the other side. So rolling basically the medial and uh, medium part of your bum. Other movements that might be interesting is hugging and knee in and making circles as well. So we are going to continue and descend the ball from this part of the bum, and we're going to move it down lower. So you can roll it down like maybe another inch or so and land into your underbutt area. Then again, use your breath to gauge the receptivity here of the tissues. If everything's, if it feels super intense, you can take the ball out and rest as well. So you just go at your own pace with the pressure. And then rolling side to side, or maybe windshield wiper first. And the balls do need to be corralled in. And then again, you could come back to figure 4 in this lower part of your bum. And it feels like for me, it's rolling towards the sit bones, like not the bottom part where we sit on, but on on the side aspects of the sit bones. And that's okay. The only precaution is not to get right into the center in your tailbone. And you can keep moving it lower and lower towards the lower aspects of your glutes that attach to the bottom of your hip bones here. And then remove the balls. And come back to awareness of your pelvic diamond. And also noticing the motion of your breath here in the pelvic diamond. After massaging some of the outer hip muscles, what is the effect of your breath and your pelvic floor relationship? You can place, we're going to start to add little movements to awaken the fibers here and the awareness here. So we're going to focus on the fibers that are attached to the pubic bone in the front and to the tailbone in the back. So imagine feeling the fibers that run front to back. And then as you inhale, tilt your pelvis forward so your low back curve increases. As you exhale, you can press your low back to the floor. So a very gentle rocking motion from the sacrum without having to lift the pelvis up. That's just arching the low back more. Notice the space between those two bones. And then pressing the low back flat. Notice the space between the tailbone and the pubic bone. You get a sense of any subtle movement in the bones and in the tissues as you change the pelvic angle. And then coming to neutral with your sacrum. Now take your awareness to the two sit bones, and if it helps you to feel them, you can palpate. And I would say keep the hands here first as we move the legs. So Let's see. We're going to externally rotate. So you're going to drop the thighs away from each other. And then notice those fibers between the two sit bones. Are they moving in? Are they gliding inward? Are the bones closer? And then drop your knees in towards each other and just see what you can feel about those sit bones. And then continue moving, and you can release the hands to make it more comfortable. And stay with that inquiry, feeling the subtle movement of those two sit bones with your leg turning in and out, and how that affects the fibers in the pelvic. And then you can freestyle and just add maybe regular windshield wipers, loosening up the back and the spine. You see a little cat. And loosening up this, so that's really helpful for the pelvic floor as well, spinal movement. And then next time you have your knees over to the right side, go ahead and roll on over to your right side. We are going to set ourselves up for a side lying position. You can grab whatever you got and build kind of a bolster for your lower leg. And we'll lie on the right side first. And we'll be resting the left lower leg on our bolster. And you can support your head however you like as you're resting here. Let me adjust this. So once you're comfortable, just get a sense of your whole torso here, and line up the ear, the shoulders, the hips, so that you're in a neutral position. Down a little bit. And then, again, we'll find those bone rhythms to bring our inquiry into the pelvic floor in this new relationship to gravity. So you can hold on to your sit bone. And as you inhale, you can tilt your pelvis forward again, so you're going towards a happy tail. And then as you exhale, you can tuck. And by the way, men have pelvic floor muscles too. So they're different, obviously, because of function. But men have pelvic floor muscles as well. And there are a lot of common symptoms, like, for example, prostate cancer has been correlated with tighter pelvic floor muscles. So awareness of the pelvic floor is really important for men as well as women. So finding your happy tail, finding your sad tail, and then noticing, can you sense maybe the fibers elongating more in one motion and shortening more in another? And then stay where you feel like you're more neutral, where you're in your natural alignment and your pelvic floor is more neutral. We do have a tendency sometimes, some of us, to tuck, and especially when we're sitting, that can chronically shorten the pelvic floor. So pause where you feel neutral. And now lift your foot up, keeping the knee down. So you're turning your leg internally, and then notice any movement of the sit bone, and then slowly lower your foot down. Explore. You can inhale and swivel your foot up, and exhale, swivel your foot down. And then we're going to stay and develop that directional breath. So you can choose to stay like this. Sometimes, if you want to create a little bit more length through the lateral fibers, or just say this feels better for you, you can rest with your foot on a block so that it's in a, a higher position and you're in more of an internal rotation. So your choice. And then this top arm can be wherever you're comfortable. And as we say, we start to feel that downward expression of our breath again. You can imagine maybe the left side of your pelvic diamond. Adding a sigh, nice and slow. And then taking a free breath between the slow sighs, sensing any change in tissues from that deeper, longer exhalation pattern. Introduce that sigh 3 times. And keep staying present with your breath. Keep staying present with your body. Catching whenever you notice that your attention has wandered off. Sometimes when we take our awareness into this space, we might experience strong sensations, strong emotions. Ultimately, we cannot be, any strong emotion is still experientially, it's still something that arises within our awareness, but sometimes it can feel very intense. So if that's happening for you, I invite you to rest your awareness into the bones. So instead of feeling the soft tissues where it might feel intense, shift your attention back to the bones and sense that quality of earth and stability. And in that way, you can move between the two as awareness, as that part of you that is untouched. So let's stay for 3 more breaths here on the first side bends. And then before we come out, you can take a little deeper twist. So before you come out, you can lift the top arm and rotate and add in a twist. Take a few breaths here. And then we'll come out and explore the second side. So setting yourself up so you're lying on the left side of your body and the lower right leg is supported. The advantage of this position is that it helps us to become aware of the two sides of the pelvic diamond. They might be different in terms of their level of tensioning and engagement. So coming into Tadasana, and the knees are bent, the top knee, like both knees are bent. The reason why I don't say straighten and really keep the bottom leg stiff is that can just lock up into the back. So you can just be soft with your bottom leg. And then this knee bend, you don't need to pull it all the way up towards your chest, because if you do, you might tuck your pelvis. So just pull it up as high as your hips are. And then you can touch your sit bone here. And your pelvic floor tissues are attached to more the inner edge of the sit bone. It's pretty cool to be able to feel the breath here. We don't usually think of breath as something that emanates all the way down into our tush. So see what you can sense and feel. And then add in that bone rhythm of the pelvic tilting. So you can even pull your sit bone back and let your low back arch. And then you can allow the sit bone to draw inward. So there's that sad tail position. And then you could give yourself a little stretch by pulling your sit bone back. So your choice. You could have a little assist from the hand or not. Pelvic tilting here in the side line. And allow your neck to receive. So we don't need to keep the head rigid. And then between those two extremes of a really happy tail and a really sad tail, where is neutral for you? Where do you feel like your low back is relaxed but long? Where do you feel like your pelvic floor is also in its natural length? And then rest where you feel like you're in neutral. Sense your breath again. And then adding in the bone rhythm of internal, external rotation. So lifting the foot up, feeling that thigh roll in. Notice any movement here. And then lower that foot down. Explore. You can inhale with the foot going up. Exhale with the foot going down. And then when you stay, you decide how you want the foot. It could be propped up higher. And then resting on your side and developing the directional breath, the quality of your inhale flowing down into your pelvis. So one of my teachers calls it basement breathing. She has a way with language, but you know, there's kind of a hierarchy that basement implies. Implies is not important, but it's actually also, we call it root breathing. So breathing down into your roots. So we can think about feeling the soft tissues, feeling the sensations as maybe connecting us more with the emotional energies. And sometimes that can be overwhelming. So we can titrate between. You can rest back into the bones as you find the breath pattern. And sounding actually is really helpful for releasing the breath, the tissues, the pelvic floor. So today I'm just introducing sounding with that long sigh to the mouth. So do a pattern of 3, and I invite you to have an interval between each one so that you can track the changes, the subtle changes. Let go of the directional breath. So any volition, any will with the breath, and simply receive the natural breath that is here. Watch yourself breathe for 3 more rounds here. When you're ready, you can add in that little twist by lifting the top arm and rotating, reaching back. So breath there. Back onto your side. You'll slowly migrate out of side lying. And we'll continue this journey through the pelvic floor by flipping ourselves into a new orientation to gravity. So you can grab your bolster, and this is going to now support your body in a prone position, in a belly down position. The next thing that you can add, if you have it, it's not crucial, but it can be helpful if you're on a hard surface. If you have a third blanket, you can put the blanket, uh-oh, what's going on? Can you hear me? Okay, okay, cool. So you can put the third blanket right over the bolster at this size. So what it'll do is it's going to support your knees, and then it encourages a really subtle anterior tilt, but very subtle. So come on down, belly down, and you can support your head with whatever you got, either fists, back of your hands, a block, whatever is comfortable. The thing to watch out for, because we want to focus on breathing, is we don't want it to be so high that our neck is, completely flexed. So we want to keep somewhat of a long, neutral neck to encourage the breath to flow better. So once you're down, shimmy around, make yourself comfortable. And we'll explore our little movements again to awaken our awareness of the pelvic floor. So bend your knees. And like we did when we were on our backs, see if you can drop your feet away from each other and then cross your feet into an X, or into your shins into an X. So swivel your feet away from each other and then swivel across. And you can switch the leg, um, crossing, switching the position. And make it your own. So I'm prone to pelvic tension. So sometimes if I feel a lot of tension, I like to do like little movements. So maybe in this internally rotated place, you can add a little sass and shake across the other way. So make it your own little extra movements as you like. Eventually, we'll come to stillness and we're going to change the leg position more into a frog. So it could be here. If this doesn't work for your joints, you could be more neutral with the legs in line with the hips. For those of us who tend to have tension in the pelvic floor, this positioning can encourage a little bit more of a stretch to some of the lateral fibers. So you can pick, you can try one and be like, how's this feel? And then you could try the other. So pick a place that you want to stay in. And before we feel the breath, let's connect with the earth element through this shape. So noticing the bones of your lower body, your sacrum, your hips, your leg bones, the two thigh bones, the lower legs, the feet. Can you sense the quality of heaviness, of solidity of your bones here? Can you feel their weight on the earth? Can you sense all those places where your body makes contact? What are the qualities of the earth element to you? So for some of us, it's this quality of safety, of solidity, of support. So noticing which one of those words resonates for you, and can you sense that quality as a living presence in those bones? Choose to stay here and just fully imbibe the quality of earth element here. You can choose to come back and feel the more fluid sense of the soft tissues in the pelvic diamond, the fluid sense of the breath. Notice how those bones contain give boundary to the fluid motion of breath, the fluid motion of emotions. Choose to also move between those two elements, the quality of fluidity, the quality of solidity. Notice how you contain both aspects. Let go of all effort with the breath meditations, body meditation. Simply be. Watch yourself breathe for 3 more rounds here in the frog of crocodile. Your pace, your timing. And slowly come out of this belly down position. And in the interest of timing for our last pose, I'm going to give you options. So for those of you who are like, hey, this was cool, like I think I just want to come back to the resting position, the constructed rest or shavasana, you can choose to do that. If you feel like you want to explore another kind of stretchy pose and you have place to, you're going to be on your back. It's going to be a squat on our backs with our feet on the wall. So if you have something that can support your feet, something vertical that your feet can rest on, you can try that. And to make that supine squat effective, I find that you do need to have some kind of a heavy blanket to put the over the hips and the groin and the pelvic floor, because that sense of weight the contact allows everything to soften. It provides that quality of safety that is needed. So I'm going to see if I can move this. I'm going to demonstrate the squat. But again, this is optional. So for those of you who are like in this inquiry and it feels like, hey, I want to explore a new position to feel more of a stretch, you can do that. All right, let's see. So that's my wall. We come lying down. And the pelvic angle is really important here as we lie down and find our squat. We want to make sure that we're not in a sad tail like this as we're in our squat, because that will shorten the fibers of the pelvic floor. And we obviously don't want to overarch either, because then if we stay, we might tweak out our backs. So you want to make sure that you're not so close to the wall that you're tucking your tail and you're not overarching. And so it's a simple squat, and then you can, if you have enough propping, it would be delicious actually if you had a ton of propping to support the bottom of your leg. as well. I don't, so I'm just going to use the pressure of my feet. And then I invite you to place your blankets right over your belly, your inner thigh, your groin. So kind of a weighted blanket. And then we just hang out and we feel. Make yourself extra comfortable depending on our backs. Like sometimes in that position, like it feels really nice to have like a really maybe a hand towel to support the curve of the neck, right? The curve of the neck and the low back. And whichever position that you're in, first register your contact with the earth. It's all the places where you're touching some support, sense of stability. Noticing that external support. And then noticing the internal support in your bones, your pelvic bowl, legs, your feet. Coming back to feeling the more fluid aspects of your pelvic bowl. Feeling for that natural downward breath. Any sensations that arise. You can choose to meet it from this place of openness, curiosity, and non-attachment, non-preference. So our personal self is aware as well, borrows its power of awareness from our universal essence. We can rest into that awareness that has no preference. We're in a wider field. So 3 more breaths here. Go at your own pace. Also, you have permission if you're feeling like you're dropping into a deep rest here and you're not ready to come out. Free to stay in your rest. If you're ready to come and join us as a group, come into, I recommend a kneeling position if it's comfortable for your knees. On the block, your sit bones on your block. For most of us, this positioning will keep the hips higher than the knees, and that allows the breath into the pelvic floor a little bit more easily than if we were cross-legged. Then we're going to do one more little exploration, which is feeling upward into the heart and connecting with the belly and the roots and the feet. So you can put a hand on your heart, a hand on your belly. And maybe sensing the heart space. And noticing how all the work with pelvic space, how it informs the heart space. Maybe there's a greater sense of energy feeding into the heart space. And then rooting into your bones, into your feet, into your legs, into the earth. And then noticing how you contain the body as awareness. You contain your breath as awareness. You contain all the emotions, all the thoughts, and even the senses, the sounds, all that you know of the outer world is also contained in awareness. Resting into that wider field of your essence self. Take the hands to prayer position. Rest the hands in the heart and take a full breath to heart center. Bow the head to the heart. The light in me honors the light in you. Namaste. I'd like to, if you need to, I'd like to honor your time. So if you need to run, it's been a pleasure to have you in class. If you'd like to join, I thought it might be supportive to have a circle share after class. And I'm not even sure what I'm going to ask us to talk about, but maybe some processing. I'm going to unmute us. And then if you want to change my view so I can see everybody. I guess maybe the invitation first that I'm feeling is just to stay rooted in the pelvis and the legs and the bones. In the heart, just any place that feels like a resource. And you have a prayer that you like to share, or an insight. It's good to see all of you. Thank you for showing up and for doing this work.
Thank you, Anshi. It's just so restful.
Thank you, Anshi.
Good way to start.
I'm not sure who was speaking, but I couldn't hear you that well.
It's Karen, and I just need to say that Sunday is my best day of the week because of this.
Hi to Macy for me. I invite you to play with some of these awarenesses that you might have this class. Definitely looking at your posture, breath, and connecting to those elements of safety and stability through your bones. Very easy awarenesses that we can add into our day, and then that also that aspect of like resting back into spaciousness, like been a real into heart presence. Like that's been really grounding for me and really always helps me to feel more courageous and optimistic. Like I feel like there is a purpose for challenges that we're being met with. To contribute. It doesn't have to look like what our mind tells us. Be contributing in energetic ways. Big hug to everybody. I'll send this recording out probably tomorrow. If you have any questions about the practices that come up later, email me as well.
Thank you, Anshi.
Thank you.
Pleasure.
Thank you.
Yep. See you next week.